Good morning. Man, my face always looks so red. I think it's because it's cold out here every time I do these. So happy Saturday. It is, hey, we got birds chirping all around me today. It's beautiful out here. So today I want to discuss a little bit of a topic that seems kind of common sense. And that's how a lot of the stuff that I talk about starts out, is it seems really common sense. Tony Caggiani, good to see you, man. Samuel, what's up, dude? Good to see everybody this morning. So today, Mr. Rob Paisley, good to join you, man. We are talking about the reason your fear is so important. Now, like on a base biological level, this is a safety mechanism. So that's the real, like, simple version of it is fear is a thing that keeps us away from aspects of our world that will harm us, right? And so that's the reason why we have apprehension, or, you know, kind of this nervousness or worry, or however you want to like title it. But the bigger thing that we want to look at is, other than keeping us safe, why that is such a big deal, because it allows us to define our world and accomplish so many things that we would have never done without it. And so this fear factor applies to so many areas in your world with respect to where you're going and what you're going to accomplish. Because we do a lot of things based on what we want to happen. And that's motivation to strive for more and to do better and progress and all of those sorts of things. But the other motivational factor is the opposite. It's that fear of what will happen if we don't do it. Kaylin, good to see you. Antonio, how we doing, man? So today we're talking about fear as a motivational factor to accomplish things. Now, we can break this down for multiple areas. Let's take our health, for example. This is a massive one. Now, we live in an age of information where we can learn just about anything we really want to. The information is there. The internet has exploded our ability to learn information about something. So we live in a society, especially in the United States, where the obesity rate is through the roof. Jeff Peltz, what's up, buddy? Every single person who is not in a healthy condition is not doing it because they don't have information about the things that are making them unhealthy. They already know. You don't have to tell somebody that fast food is bad for you, or that you need to get out and do a walk like this and exercise, right? Like, we know these things. So why don't we do them? And it's because we don't have enough fear involved. Especially as you're young, you kind of take your health for granted. You say, I can heal fast. I have a long time ahead of me to get on top of this. Rachel Snyder, good to see you. We make up all these reasons in our head of why we're not going to take action now. It's not because we don't know. It's because we feel like there isn't a close enough deadline that matters. So that's why deadlines are so important in getting things done. It's that 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the stuff gets done. 80% of the stuff gets done in the last 20% of the time. It's because we finally have that motivational factor that if I don't get this done by this time, there's a consequence. And this is where that fear factor kicks in, is it allows us to accomplish things based on what we don't want to happen. Now, this is the key point, guys. In health, most of the time, people don't take action soon enough because they don't have a big enough fear of something happening soon enough. Brick Boss, my man, here we are. So if you have decent health, it allows you to get through today. Then a lot of times you're not going to take any action to change it tomorrow. And when it comes to health specifically, the change is so microscopic and so small. Carrie, good to see you, my man. It takes so much time to notice the difference of change within our health that we don't act until we are absolutely forced to make that change choice. So usually it comes down to, I've been super unhealthy for a really long time, and I went to the doctor and he just said, man, you're pre-diabetic. Or maybe you already got full-blown diabetes because you waited so long. Or maybe you got high blood pressure. Or I don't know, whatever severe situation you're dealing with is something that was scaring the crap out of you. That you said, oh my God, I've got to make a change or else I'm going to die, or I'm going to fear some really negative consequence. And this is where it comes down to fear motivating us to avoid the things that we don't want to happen. Michael, I didn't see you, man. You snuck in on me. Good to see you. So when we're talking about fear, it's a motivational factor to avoid the things that we don't want to happen. Most of the time, though, we don't act on that unless there's a big enough deadline close enough. So we can apply this to health. People realize, okay, I now have diabetes because I made a whole bunch of bad choices and ate a bunch of unhealthy foods and didn't watch my diet, and I didn't exercise to burn the things and created a real bad situation. And now, if I don't do something right now, in another month or two, my situation's going to be dire. That deadline approaches, and that is the motivating factor for you to finally take action. Maybe you've got something a little less tragic in your world. You've got a wedding, or you're going on a vacation, or whatever it may be, and you don't want to look fat when you show up in that wedding dress or out on the beach in your bikini or whatever it may be, right? It's that motivational factor of I don't want a certain situation, and that is what gets you to actually take the action. So we can look at this in the term of religion. Now, I'm not a super religious person, but I've talked to a lot of religious people. And when it comes down to the things that they believe in, when it comes to the spiritual and the religious world, a lot of times breaks down to fear. It's not because of this and this and this I made this choice. It's because if I don't make this choice and I'm wrong, the cost benefit is so much higher to not do it than it is to do it. Right? If I believe in a certain religious sense that this is how the world works, and it ends up not being that way after I leave this planet, no harm, no foul, right? If I don't end up in heaven or hell or whatever it may be, no negative on my side. But if I don't believe that there is some spiritual being in some other place that I'm supposed to get to, and I operate wrong in this world, and I can't get to that next world, man, that's a huge negative consequence, right? And so that fear of not having the next step be possible is motivating enough to live your entire life a certain way now. We can look at this in the term of retirement. When you are young, so I'm 37, when you start out your working world and you're 16, 18 years old, you don't give a crap about retirement. Your deadline for retirement is super far out. You're not anywhere close to that 65, 70 range of whatever it takes for you to, say, hey, I'm gonna take off working for a while, enjoy the rest of my days, and use the money that I built up as a retirement. Yanela, good to see you. To enjoy the rest of my time, right? And so, as you get older, as you work through your 20s and your 30s and your 40s, and that deadline of retirement starts getting closer, you start to look at it a little more seriously, like, oh man, I only have 10 years, 20 years, maybe whatever, until I got to retire. And if I don't start saving some money now, what am I going to do when I can't actually work anymore to make more money? So then you start having that fear of living without enough to actually start making some investments and try to build some kind of retirement portfolio, whether it's a 401k or stock investments or life insurance or whatever it is that you got going to give yourself that situation that you're looking to have happen. The consequence of not building that retirement because the deadline is approaching fast enough to motivate you to take action now really starts to kick in, okay? So guys, here's my message for today. And this is super simple, but it takes you changing the way that you look at things and the way that you make decisions about things in order to not get caught in the end, okay? Because when we talk about using fear as a motivational factor to avoid the things that we don't want to have happen, don't wait until it's too late. That's the thing, all right? If you guys use your health as an example for this, when you finally go to the doctor and they tell you that you're diabetic, maybe there's a chance that you can reverse it. Maybe you've waited too long already. Your body's already shut down your ability to produce insulin. You no longer can process those carbohydrates the same way you used to. And now you have to spend the rest of your life taking shots so that you can simply live. You don't want that situation, right? Especially if it was self-induced. If you were not diabetic when you were born, Randy Cunningham, good to see you, man. If you were not a diabetic when you were born, and you made so many poor choices over and over and over for years because the immediate consequence was not big enough, and you waited until it was so bad that you had to go to the doctor to find out that you are diabetic, you've ignored all of the factors that were motivating enough for you to change those choices when it was possible to reverse that diabetes, right? And so guys, don't wait. That's the thing. Use the fear as though the deadline is closer than it really is. Because that's the biggest factor that makes us decide that change needs to happen now, is when we think we are out of time. When we feel like there is no more time for me to wait to not make the choice, the consequence of not doing it becomes so big that we finally take action. Do that now. Do that today. Decide that I don't want to get to that diabetic situation. I'm going to take my health seriously. Don't wait to start an investment portfolio for yourself, because that retirement comes up quicker than you think. And maybe something happens unexpectedly that you don't control. Maybe you hurt yourself and you get injured and you can't work when you're in your 40s. Then what? Oh, damn, I didn't plan for this. Guys, you don't know all the factors that go into how your life is going to play out. So if you don't control the factors that you have the ability to make choices about, then you're just leaving it up to chance that hopefully I'm going to live a good life long enough to get to that point where I can kick in the fear because the deadline is close enough that I'm going to take different actions. Man, that's a scary situation to be in. In religion, I've seen this time and time and time again, where people want to live however they want to live for their entire lives. And most Christian religion says, regardless of the sin that you've gone through or chosen to enact in your past up to this point, it doesn't matter. You can be saved at the very last minute. As long as you repent and claim your belief in this thing, then the end of your days is going to be totally fine. And people use that as a crutch to make bad choices over and over and over for the majority of their life, thinking, oh, I could live however I want. And then at the end, all I have to do is say I believe and I'm saved. That defeats the entire purpose of the religious movement in itself, which realistically is to be a good person. Cool, thank you, Tony. I appreciate the share, man. This is the biggest thing, guys, is to make good choices every day to live the type of life or to acquire the type of life that you want to have in the future, but to have it right now. So let that fear sink in a little bit. Let that knowing of the unknown motivate you to take action now to avoid the kind of life you don't want to have happen. You don't know. You don't know how much money you need when you're no longer able to work. You don't know what it looks like on the other side when you're no longer a living being here on this earth. You don't know what's going to happen within your body. Things can change very quickly. My dad died about 3 years ago from a massive brain tumor. He was very healthy for the majority of his life. Never ate really fast food, stayed active, did a lot of really good choice things. And what ended up taking him out was something he had no idea was even happening. He got a massive brain tumor in his head. And by the time they realized that it was there, it was 5 centimeters across, like the size of a golf ball. Maybe even bigger than that. I don't know how big 5 centimeters is, about, it's big. It's hard to scale that on a video. But he lived his life enjoying every day. He worked enough so he could go fishing at the end of the week. He didn't wait to say, oh, I'm gonna go hit that, fishing hole up here up north when I retire. He didn't wait to live his life now the way he wanted to live it. But he also continued to make good choices over and over and over. He took his supplements. He avoided the bad foods. He didn't talk badly about people. He had a real positive attitude about things. And even at the end, guys, and this was not meant to I appreciate that, Tony, but this is not like a, pity party on my side. I want you guys to use this as a motivating factor that within our worlds, we don't know so much of what could happen. So the things that we know we should do those things. Do the things that are preventative measures. Get out and exercise, eat healthy foods, take care of your body. But those preventative measures for relationships, do those things to tell the person that they matter. If you tell somebody, hey, I love you, even if it's not your spouse or something crazy like that, it's okay. Tell the person that matters in your world how much they mean to you, because you never know. They could be in a car accident. That could be the last time you ever see them, right? Don't wait to start putting money away or investing in some kind of stock portfolio or whatever it may be, because you never know when you could be in a car accident yourself and you hurt yourself and you no longer can physically work to earn more money. There's too many factors that are out of your control So utilize that fear of the unknown to take action today, to create your life the way you want it to be in the end, but for that to happen right now, even if you don't get the result right now. Because if you tell somebody that you care about them, and then you get to see them tomorrow, it's not a negative, right? There's no bad side that says, oh, I told you I loved you, and you came back again. Man, that's a super awesome thing, because you now get to tell them again and experience another awesome moment with that person. But now that they know from the last time you told them that you cared about them, the way that they look at you and respond to you is different in the next moment, right? And so you build upon that awesomeness that you get to share with the people around you, and your world is better because you feel good in the moment of telling that person that they matter. They feel good in that moment. And when you come back together again, you guys share another awesome moment that's even better that you build upon. So your health, your investments, your religion, whatever it may be, take those steps to ensure that you are controlling the factors within your control, and you're making the choices that you know are going to push you towards a better world. Because there's so many unknowns that you don't control that you may not actually get to that end point that you are looking for, but you are avoiding so many of the things that can actually take you down and stop you from getting anywhere. So the fear of not getting there needs to be that motivating factor to get you to take action today. So appreciate you guys. I've been walking around in circles around my neighborhood a little bit more than I normally do, but this is a big factor, guys, because when you end up at, the end of your world and you look back, are you going to be proud of the things that you've done, of the choices that you've made? When my dad got told that, it's kind of the end of your time, man, I got to go with him to a therapist. And this was sort of an awkward situation for me, but she just wanted to talk to him about, how are you handling everything? What's your thought process about all of this information and no longer having that time, right? And his response was something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. His response was happiness. Not because he was trying to die, right? He loved life. He was super excited every single day about what he got to experience. But his happiness was in the form of knowing where that endpoint was for him as a concrete thing. So he said, now I know that I need to take care of specific things within how my will is set up, the people that I get to tell that they matter, the rest of the time that I get to spend with the people that matter. I know that 100%. So I can get all my affairs in order. And when I leave, I got nothing to worry about anymore. And that was the magic moment where I was like, man, all you have to do is appreciate the things that are good in your world, and know that if you take control of those factors that are within your choice ability, and you make the good choices today, and you live a happy life, when you come down to the end, it's not a bunch of regret and worry. You can leave in a happy place, knowing that you got to do the best while you were here, and show the people that are around you that matter how much you really care about them and how much they impacted that positive world you live in. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave it off right here, but if you're hanging out with me, thank you very much. This is something that really I enjoy, getting out and walking, talking to you guys about a couple of things, whatever it may be in my world. If this is something you connect with, you vibe with, it's giving you a little bit of motivation to go out and make some different choices, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you're thinking about and the choices that you're going to make in your day, because guys, that's all it really comes down to in our world. The results that we see are a reaction of the choices that we make. And if you utilize fear in that avoidance factor of what you don't want to happen, the consequence of not doing it is strong enough, then you can actually push yourself forward to do things that you may never have done before. So thank you guys, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.